the campus as a place for experimentation. For modernist architects, the university campus was a challenging experimentation ground. Conceived as a microcosm of society, the campus offered architects the opportunity to project their utopian visions. In this search, radical spatial experiments were carried out all over the world, leading to some of the most iconic buildings of modern architecture. Today, we will travel through some of these campuses and buildings through the eyes of our young protagonist who begins their journey in Rome. Walking through the main campus of La Sapienza, our protagonist encounters monumental buildings enclosing a series of plazas. At the end of the T-shaped Piazza della Minerva, one building stands out, the School of Mathematics by Gioponti, built in 1935. Approaching the building from the side, our protagonist is fascinated by the volumes and transparency in contrast with the rest of the campus. Spatial variety continues inside, with layered programs and transparencies. Imagining a campus built of glass, our protagonist heads off to Leicester, which is an industrial town in England. Here, the engineering building tower catches their eye. Built by James Stirling in 1963, it pairs traditional red bricks with extensive use of glass. The unique angular glass roof brings north light into the low warehouse, which houses flexible workspaces. In contrast, the monumental towers are a sculptural composition of abstract volumes. This ensemble sits on a rational grid and functions like a machine. Curious to see a simpler building, our protagonist travels to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Built by architect and teacher Villanova Artigas in 1968, the architecture school stands out as a frugal yet monumental concrete structure. Drawn in by the lack of barriers, our protagonist walks through a generous landscaped peristyle. Inside, the structure opens into a large skylit atrium designed as a democratic space to collect and gather. Split levels and ramps make this large structure seem like a unified, continuous space. Wanting to see more examples of buildings using natural light and ventilation, our protagonist travels to Ife, Nigeria. Separate from the city, the sprawling Ife campus built by Arish Sharon in 1962 is surrounded by green. Most of the buildings are shaped as inverted pyramids, providing self-shading and creating an inviting, breezy community space on the ground level. In the campus core, our protagonist is drawn to the auditorium building and its beautiful murals. Its interconnected and open spaces overlook a porous, central gathering space. In search of a campus with a more defined grid, our protagonist travels to Chandigarh, India. Designed by Pierre Jeanneret in 1956, the campus is rigidly organized in a waving grid, like the rest of Chandigarh, planned by Le Corbusier. Responding to the climate, all the buildings have loggias and overhangs, while the open public spaces are surrounded by trees. The protagonist notices the uniform use of pinkish red sandstone across the campus. In contrast, the ceremonial Ghandi Bhawan uses white concrete and sits like a lotus in a water pond. Dedicated to the words and works of Gandhi, the building is a landmark within the city. Having thus traveled around the world, our protagonist reminisces about the experimental qualities of the five campuses and their architects' visions. Some key concepts are transparency, materials, continuity, culture, and centrality.